Yahoo! 皆さんこんにちは、Annie です。Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. About a couple of months back, I made a video about my first impressions here in Canada, and a lot of those points, if not all of them, put Canada or specifically Vancouver in a very warm light of how welcoming and how friendly the city has been to me. However, as we all know, there is always two sides of the coin, and as many beautiful memories and beautiful, extraordinary experience I've had, on the other hand, I've also experienced the darker side of Vancouver, and I just want to make this video to share it with you. So the next time you ever decide to go to Vancouver or Canada for studying or traveling, it's a good idea to keep in mind that there will be times where you can't really control what's going on. Even though Vancouver is safe, there will be times that unfortunate events might happen. And in this video, I will be sharing you 3 stories about the time that my stuff got stolen. So without further ado, story time. 始めましょう. So the first story was the first time I got my stuff stolen. So it was around September. So I was just here for 4 months approximately, and I was at Tim Hortons down in Robson Street. So it is the downtown area of Vancouver, and the reason I was there was that I was waiting for my evening appointment with my friend. It was at 7, so I was waiting at Tim Hortons at 5 p.m. just waiting for time to pass by. And at that time, I brought along my charging cable and my phone because my phone dies out really quickly, the battery sucks. So yeah, I was just sitting there and doing my own stuff, and I plugged the charger under the table because there was a plug there. And as I was scrolling over my feed, I just happened to hear some Japanese. It was like if you sign up for like a newsletter or something on the website, they will get like a free Timbits box or some special promotions. It appeared that at the time their English wasn't very good and the part-time employee could not speak Japanese, so they were having a hard time communicating. So I just decided to come up to them and help them with the procedure. I was like, 大丈夫ですか? 私は日本語が話せますから、もし質問があったらぜひぜひ私に聞いてください. Yeah, so I was spending around 10 to 15 minutes helping them with like filling out their information and stuff. And at that time, I brought my phone with me because my cousin warned me that even though Vancouver is safe, it's still better to bring your stuff. So I brought along my bag and I brought along my phone and my electrical device. However, I left my charger under the table because I thought like, oh, it's just a charger, it's okay, I'll be back. And I had my cup on the table, so it feels like I'm still gonna be back. So I left my seat and I helped them for 15-10 minutes. So after we finished signing up, they got their Timbits. I got a free cookie for helping them and for signing up as well. And then I returned to my seat to eat the donut that I got. And you know what? The table was spotlessly cleaned. Now normally that will be a very good sign because it means that the employee has wiped my table for me. However, my charger was gone. Now, my first instinct was not to point finger. I went under the table of my table and I looked around my surrounding for any clue that I must have mistaken my seat. I tried looking around for people who kind of look suspicious, but there's no way people can really see the charger on the table because the charger was under the table. So I kind of associated with being, oh, probably the employee just cleaned my table and thought that I was leaving, so maybe they have the charger, I should go and ask them. And this girl just gave me the look and just told me that no, I didn't see it. I was pretty taken aback, but I tried to stay calm and ask her one more time. I didn't mean to accuse her. However, it was just kind of like an instinct that she was just lying to my face. I asked her politely, like, oh, did you see it? It was under the table. It was like plugged into the wall. So if you clean my table, probably you should have seen it. And she was like, no, maybe it got stolen. I don't know. Her voice sounded really emotionless. She didn't have that look like she felt guilty about it, or she didn't do anything after that, like, oh, like helping me look around, or I don't know. She did nothing. I did not know how to react. I can't accuse her because I had no evidence, but I was just shocked by how she answered to me with a very straight and cold face. Felt like she had nothing to do with it. So I just decided to shut up and leave the heck out of there. So yeah, that was my first story. Okay, story number 2. This one happened at around, I think, October or beginning of November. So me and my friends were waiting outside of this very famous Chinese restaurant. So we already reserved our table, but it was just too crowded that the restaurant needed time to kind of settle and arrange us into our tables while I waited outside. And it was freezing cold. At that time, I had my puffer jacket and I had my beret. But since it was a bit too windy and my beret was kind of like, it was about to fall off, so I just I tucked it inside the pocket of my puffer jacket. And we just kept on talking, me and my friend. And after 30 minutes of waiting, we were finally seated and I went inside the restaurant. While we were sitting down, I put my hand inside the jacket and then I felt very empty, like there was nothing inside. Oh, shit. Where's my hat? Oh, maybe it fell off. And then I tried to look under the table. I tried looking into my other pocket and I tried looking around, but it wasn't there. So my last hope was to go outside and probably, hopefully, hope that it just fell outside on the road. And nothing was there. So I'm pretty sure I dropped it, but when I came back for it, it's just gone. It never happened to me before. If it was in Japan, if you drop something, people passing by will actually pick it up and will give it back to you. Or if someone happens to drop something, a stranger can just pick it up and leave it someplace around that area. So if the owner decides to come back, he or she can still find the property. But this time it was like, there was no clue where my hat gone. And I felt very distressed about it because it was my favorite hat. So by the end of these 2 stories, so far we have the following issue. I am quite careless. I am a bit too overconfident about my surroundings, hoping there's goodness in people, which there are, but it's just not happening that frequently compared to what I experienced before in Japan. So for the first and second stories, the things that I lost weren't that high in value. It was just a charger and it was just my hat, so I can always replace them. However, the third story, which happened recently, was the worst of them all. But just to sum it up, I lost my wallet on Christmas Day. It was the worst one of them all. And this one was purely because of my foolishness. Basically, on Christmas Day, I decided that I want to go to TNT, which is the Asian market. So normally, I will always go out with either a duffel bag or like just a small tote bag to keep my stuff in. However, for some reason on that day, I just decided to wear my coat and have my phone, my charger, and my wallet all put inside my pocket, and I just boarded on the bus. The thing about me and public transportation is that I fall asleep really easily on the bus. So as soon as I got on the bus, I rolled over, I curled up on my seat, and I just went to sleep. It's a pretty long ride downtown to the supermarket. It's about 15 minutes, so I was pretty much sleeping for 40 minutes on the bus, and I tend to roll over a lot. So my speculation was that as I was sleeping, the wallet could have fallen out of my pocket, because when I got off my bus station, I put my hand inside my pocket and it was not there. My first immediate thought was that, oh my god, it must be on the bus. It has to be on the bus. And gradually my tension built up and I was getting more stressed than ever. Not because that there was a lot of cash inside my wallet. I only had like 30 bucks, so which was not a lot. So, but I had a lot of cards inside. I had my bus card, I had my student ID, I had my credit card, my debit card, and most importantly, my Japanese residence card. That is the most important piece of information inside my wallet. So I was pretty much flipping out. And the thing is that it was on Christmas Day, so everything was closed. And after Christmas Day was Boxing Day, which was another huge holiday. I tried calling the police station, but obviously they weren't working. They asked me to file a case and call back once the holidays are over. If they find anything, they will call me. So I was stressing out over the holiday. I don't know what's gonna happen to my wallet. And based on 2 prior experiences, I was feeling very insecure and I had a very negative feeling. In Japan, if you lose your stuff and if people found it, they will definitely return back to the police station. They will contact you. Basically, there's more security and there's more guarantee that you will find your wallet or your phone if you drop it on public transport. However, I cannot say the same for public transport in Canada or in this case in Vancouver. I waited 5 days to call back to the police station, and as I had expected before, no one returned the wallet back. There was this tiny spark inside of me, hoped that someone will find it and I can find my wallet. But unfortunately that didn't happen. So yeah, those were the 3 stories of how I got my stuff stolen in Vancouver within the span of 6 months. I would say though that I learned a lot from these 3 cases. Number 1, I am overconfident to put Vancouver on the same scale as Beppu. However, it is so apparent that these are 2 parts of very different sides of the world. Beppu is a very small city, population of about 122,000 people. And then we have Vancouver population of about 2 million. And therefore the probability to get your stuff back is without doubt much lower. Second, I am very careless. Normally I am very organized, like what I said in the 3rd story. But just so happened that day I decided to do something out of my routine, which is not carrying a bag with me. And look what happened. Another example would be me helping those 2 Japanese girls, bringing all of my stuff but then leaving my charger behind. So I was very careless to even put it out. I should have put it inside my bag. So yes, again, my fault. From these 3 experiences, I realized that I still have a lot of misses. Sometimes I just get really carried away and I can become very careless of the surroundings. So that was a very important lesson that I learned. The second lesson is that I realized that I actually handled those situations pretty well. Surprisingly, I remained calm, or at least I appeared to be very calm on the outside while flipping out inside. But just appearing to be calm and like calm myself down allowed me to make better judgment. So like in the first case, I was able to kind of hold back my grudge, not going all out or instantly accusing that employee, for example, because what if she didn't take it? Or what if she did take it? Anyways, if I blurted it out, it would have ended well. And for my second story, I learned that by staying calm, I kind of know to letting things go. After all, it's just a hat. It's not that big of a deal. I've learned to accept the fact that it's just gone. And finally, the 3rd story. By staying calm, I was able to make very sensible decisions. I was quick-witted enough to call the police to report to them about my situation, filing a case, and like asking them what should I do in this scenario. I was also calm enough to cancel all of my cards immediately. So overall, I learned quite a considerable amount of knowledge and would and wisdom from these 3 experiences I had. Luckily, stuff like that don't happen that often. However, I kind of glad that I experienced them. Vancouver, generally speaking, is still a very safe place. However, it is as equally as important to be mindful about the surrounding, to not take things for granted, that just because everyone says it's safe doesn't mean it's always safe. There will just be that part of unknown and insecureness. So it's always good to learn how to take precautions, to be mindful, and to be aware of what's happening. But just in the case that unfortunate things really did happen, it's also very important to stay calm and trying to find a sensible way of tackling the problem. So I hope that my personal experiences kind of give you an idea that stuff like this might happen, not just in Canada, but anywhere around the world, even if it's the safest place according to news and media. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.